What's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about DMT as a starter psychedelic. Is DMT a good starter psychedelic or not? So, I don't know about you guys, but when I was first introduced to DMT, it was made out to be, and still, here and there is, the world's most powerful psychedelic, the most intense psychedelic experience that a human being can undergo. Many people say that, a lot of that's put out a lot, that this DMT is the most intense you can go with psychedelics. And to get into the specifics, some people would argue 5-MeO DMT from the bufol various toad is more potent than N N-DMT, which is what's found throughout all the plants and living organisms and stuff, and is what I'm talking about in this video. I personally have never done 5-MeO DMT. But yeah, there's this overall vibe that DMT is the most intense thing, and DMT, the breakthrough, the entities. LSD doesn't get you there. Mushrooms, yeah, it can get you there because it's a type of DMT. It's DMT. It's all about DMT. So, really long story short, I really wanted to try this stuff, and it started out with an intense intimidation, like, I can't handle this. Look what everybody's saying. It's the world's most powerful psychedelic. I can't do this. I just got into psychedelics. I just found out these were a thing. I can't just jump right to DMT. But nevertheless, I did. I acquired DMT, and I did it. And over time of doing it, I began to realize, okay, yes, this is a very intense, very bizarre, very far out experience, but it's not as hierarchically like powerful as everybody is making it out to be. It seemed a lot more manageable and a lot more tolerable than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be, whiplashed into oblivion, and I wouldn't even know left from right. But all the times I've done DMT, really, there's this, it's very formal, it makes sense. I don't know how to describe it, but it seemed normal. It seemed like it's supposed to be like that, and it's not that intolerable. And the intolerableness, the this I can't handle this, comes completely from you. That's you bringing that to the table. And I started to realize this with the DMT, like, why, like, I understand why we say it's incredibly powerful. It's because DMT has the ability, especially when you smoke it. I can't vouch for what happens when you take ayahuasca or any of that, but when you smoke DMT, the route of administration that you're ingesting the drug in, you're rapidly absorbing this psychedelic drug. You can't smoke mushrooms, you can't smoke LSD, but you can smoke DMT. And this is a psychedelic drug, and it rushes through your system. And you can smoke upwards of 100 milligrams in one hit if you hit it hard enough, you know what I mean? And that is a very intense psychedelic experience. And the reason people say this is the most intense psychedelic, nothing else can compare to this, is because of how deep you're able to dive based off of the route of administration. I mean, think about if you could smoke LSD, or if you could smoke a 5-gram mushroom trip, and it was the same duration of DMT, we would be saying the same type of stuff about LSD and mushrooms as well. A lot of the psychedelics, if you could vaporize and inhale them and immediately feel the full-on rush of what that drug does, we would be saying a lot of these other things that aren't as intense as DMT are a lot more intense. And because these other things are ingested through the orally and have to be metabolized and broken down, it's such a slower onset. It's such a slower release. and therefore doesn't go to the depths of DMT and lasts much longer because it's being broken down so slowly. So a lot of that is what led me to realize that DMT, honestly, is a great starter psychedelic. And there's specific reasons as to why I say that. The first being it only lasts 3 to 10 minutes. And yes, you have this sort of afterglow effect, but the real initial psychedelic experience only lasts 3 to 10 minutes. If you're considering you're somebody that's never done psychedelics, doesn't know what to expect, you've done some research, but you've never actually been on them. If you were to take LSD or even mushrooms, it's going to be about 30, 45 minutes until you start to even begin to feel what that psychedelic is going to do to you. And this is somebody who's never taken psychedelics, keep that in mind. Around the hour and a half mark, they're going to begin to be able to analyze this psychedelic effect that's building in them. And they're going to be able to go, okay, this is pretty cool, this is pretty awesome, this feels great, this is awesome, you know what I mean? Or they'll be able to go, this is kind of weird, I don't know if I like this, I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable, you know, things look kind of weird, I don't know if I like what's going on. This is an hour and a half in. And typically, every time with LSD, mushrooms, these experiences build for about 3-4 hours. And if you're somebody who's just taken a psychedelic that's never taken them before, and you're an hour in to a 6 to 12 hour experience, and you're saying, I don't like this, unfortunately, you still have 3 hours or so of building intensity, and then the long drawn out come down of those orally ingested psychedelics as well. So in the situation where somebody who's never taken psychedelics takes LSD or mushrooms and begins to realize they don't like this, they're essentially stuck with the not liking it and having to really bear through that half a day experience. While on the other hand, you have DMT, smoked N N-DMT. Somebody who's never taken psychedelics, you load up 20, 30 milligrams into the pipe and give it to them in one hit. They're going to, within 5 to 20 seconds, begin to analyze psychedelic effects. And they're going to go, okay, I like this, or okay, I don't like this. And especially with something like DMT, it's going to be coming in so quickly that there's not even a lot of room, there's not a lot of wiggle room to freak out. It just kind of happens. And you are swarmed by intense psychedelic effects. And you go through it. You are pulled through it, you know? And it lasts 3 to 10 minutes, you know? If you're somebody that doesn't like what's happening, and you wanted to see what psychedelics were like, so you tried DMT, and you realized, you know, a minute into it, 30 seconds into it, oh my god, this is horrifying, I don't like this at all. Rather than having to spend the next 3 to 8 hours in that horrifying experience that you personally don't like, you only have to spend the next 3 to 5 minutes in that space. And you know, it's tricky because the thing with DMT is if you do a big dose, you're going to see more intense psychedelic effects than you've ever seen with LSD or mushrooms, just simply because of how quickly it's able to be experienced. So if you don't like it, it's going to shake you up. There's no doubt about that. But you're going to be back to sobriety appears quicker than you would with traditional psychedelics, LSD and mushrooms, you know. And this was a personal opinion I began to formulate after challenging experiences with LSD, where I, you know, began to realize I don't get in these positions on DMT. I am like completely out of the equation on DMT. But with LSD, it seems like I am completely there to fight and wiggle and squirm for 8 hours straight. And it began to create this feeling that, you know, I don't know if LSD is the best beginner's psychedelic. You know, I feel like if somebody came to me wanting to see the effects of psychedelics, but was a little edgy about it, I would offer them DMT. I would offer them low doses of smoked DMT so that they could first feel that sort of just general shift, then that feeling kind of high and flowy and wavy, and then, you know, if they're ready, you know, allow them to see some of those psychedelic visuals, and then eventually you can show them that inner world of complete transcendence, you know. But yeah, I feel like DMT, just because of how short the experience is a way better starter psychedelic compared to something like LSD or mushrooms, where if you don't like it, you're stuck with it for a while. You're gonna have to be in that for a while. And this isn't to steer people away from taking LSD or mushrooms as their first psychedelic. Because honestly, the most profound experiences I've had, the most moving experiences I've had with psychedelics was on bad, you know, scary LSD experiences, where I was going through ego death type stuff, or just, yeah, usually ego death type stuff, which is interesting. Why doesn't DMT scare me the way LSD has, you know? And that's why I personally feel like DMT is something that's more easier on beginners than something like LSD or mushrooms. But yeah, it's completely just personal opinion, and there's a few reasons, obviously, that go with that. But yeah, that's just really what I've come to feel over time is, yes, DMT is the most intense, to the extent that you have the ability to enter into deeper realms of psychedelic effect at lower doses and in quicker time ranges than you would with LSD or mushrooms. You're gonna have to take a shitload of acid or a shitload of mushrooms to even knock at the doors of the places that you can see and be just off of smoking 30, 40 milligrams of this DMT powder, you know? Yeah. I'm not like talking down the intensity of DMT whatsoever. DMT, you know, will knock your socks off just as easily as any of the others, if not more. But it's just the idea that it doesn't last as long. You're gonna find out really quickly if you like psychedelics or not. Particularly, you know, if you like DMT or not. You're gonna find out very quickly what psychedelics are like, what visuals look like, how your thoughts work on psychedelics within seconds, and it will be over within minutes. And to the person that's not enjoying the experience, that's a plus to them. It's not going to last as long. But yeah, that's really the main idea behind it. Yes, DMT is incredibly intense, but I think we should be less. Oh, DMT is, you know, you gotta work your way up to that. Maybe that's not around. Maybe I'm just stuck on that what used to be. But yeah, it's this idea that DMT is the most intense, and, you know, oh, I can't handle that, I need to stick with these and stuff like that. Like, no, you can handle it. You know, I didn't think I could, and I could. You can do it. It's a beautiful experience. It's intense. It's crazy. It's incredibly alien. But it's okay. You can handle it. It doesn't kill you. You don't need to be at a specific level of spirituality or psychedelic exploration to be able to smoke DMT. You can experience it if you want to, and don't feel like you can't go there and you can't handle it. Obviously, you know yourself better than I do, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and gauge whether or not you should even be doing psychedelics. But yeah, don't feel like you can't do DMT because you're not at that level yet. That's BS. You can handle it, and the DMT beings are waiting for you to realize that. They're waiting for you to come back, and you know, that's how it feels to me. But yeah, this is the end of the video, really. That's all I gotta say about DMT as a starter psychedelic. Is it a good starter psychedelic? I say, fuck yeah. It's a great starter psychedelic. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and I will definitely be back with more. See you guys.